Hello everyone. In this session, we will go through one of the key master settings. This setting includes a seamless and proper bifurcation of responsibilities among the buyers and sellers. We achieve this using Incoterms and their rules. These rules are critical in terms of setting conditions for transportation, cost, freight, and goods insurance, helping to avoid any disputes or confusion between both parties. We will understand what Incoterms are and how they apply to international trade. They can also be applied to domestic trades if both the buyers and sellers agree, but their primary use is for international transactions. We will also define the purpose and role of Incoterm rules within the ERP system. Finally, we will learn how these rules are configured and used within our ERP transactions on the Onfinity platform. As a prerequisite for this training, you must have a basic understanding of ERP navigation and master data screens. You should also be familiar with sales or procurement transaction flows. It is necessary to know your organization's logistics or shipping processes. You must have either read or write access to the Incoterm or Incoterm rule screens within the ERP system on the Onfinity platform. Finally, you should be aware of the standard Incoterms used by your organization. For example, FOB, which stands for Free On Board, CIF, which stands for Cost, Insurance, and Freight, and EXW, which stands for Ex Works. Incoterms, which is a shorter version for international commercial terms, are a set of standardized trade terms published by the International Chamber of Commerce. These terms define the responsibilities of buyers and sellers in international trades. They can also be used for domestic trades if both the buyer and seller explicitly agree to apply them. These rules clarify who is responsible for tasks such as the transportation of goods and who will cover the shipping costs. They also clarify who handles insurance, manages export and import duties, and ultimately, who bears the risk of damage or loss during transit. We have a few examples of Incoterms such as Free On Board, or FOB, and Cost, Insurance, and Freight, or CIF. These Incoterms are linked with Incoterm rules, which provide a more detailed explanation of these terms. These rules clarify what exactly should be done or followed when any of these terms are mentioned in our contracts or orders. The definition for an Incoterm rule in our ERP system on the Onfinity platform is a configurable set of business rules that determines how, where, and when a specific Incoterm is applied within sales, procurement, or logistic transactions. For example, with the Incoterm CIF, the rule linked to this term specifies that the seller pays the freight to the destination port. However, the risks shift to the buyer once the goods are on board. This rule also covers the arrangement and payment of minimum insurance for the goods. Now let us visualize how these Incoterms and their corresponding rules are handled within the Onfinity ERP. Once you are logged into the system, you can find the Incoterm screens in a couple of ways. You can click on the top left menu icon and use the term Incoterms in the search bar. The system will then filter out the respective screens you need. Alternatively, you can follow a specific path. First, click on Master Data Management. Under Master Data Management, you will find Business Partner Center. Within the Business Partner Center, you will see two screens, Incoterm Rule and Incoterms. First, let us look at the Incoterm screen. Click on Incoterm, and the system will present you with this view. This is our grid view, offering an overall picture of the information stored in this screen. For example, here we can see the code and the name of each Incoterm created in the system. If you go into the detail view, you can see the description. Also, if you need to deactivate or discontinue any Incoterms in the future due to business process changes or organizational decisions, you can simply click on the Active button to make it inactive and then save it. This specific Incoterm will then no longer be available for future transactions. Now, these Incoterms are linked with the rules. If you go into the detail view, you will see a list of predefined rules in the system as per the ICC standards. You can select from any of these rules to define an Incoterm. These Incoterms are then linked with either customers or vendors. This particular description will define the exact conditions, roles, and responsibilities that will apply to the respective Incoterm. Let's now create a new Incoterm. Click on New Record, and we will fill out the name of the Incoterm. The description for this new Incoterm will be cost, insurance, and freight. When you save it, the system will automatically assign the search key. Now, we need to link an Incoterm rule with this specific term. You can have multiple sets of term rules as per the contract requirements between the buyer and the seller. We need to click on New Record, and once we go into the detailed view, there is an auto-generated set of rules created by the system. This is a separate repository we are currently viewing. To access this repository, you can either search for it from the menu or navigate through Master Data Management to find the Incoterm rules. We also have a third option, which is to use the zoom option available by clicking on the three dots. This is a global functionality available throughout the Onfinity system. So, you simply need to click on the zoom button, and the system will navigate you to the Incoterm rule screen. Here, you can see we have a predefined set of rules that can be used or linked with any of the Incoterms we were creating in the Incoterms screen. We are currently creating one Incoterm, CIF. Let's move back to the Incoterm screen. After filling in all the information, we just need to click on the Save button. This particular rule is now allocated to the CIF term. These Incoterms can then be further linked with either customer masters or vendor masters. Let's quickly look at one of the master screens to see how these rules are linked. Search for Customer Master, and once clicked, you will be prompted to the screen. To view the records, click on this button, and then go to the detail view for one record by clicking this hyperlink. You will find Incoterms in additional settings. Here, all your created terms which are active will be available for selection. Select the required term and save it. This is how the entire Incoterm cycle works within the Onfinity system. That concludes this session. Thank you for attending.